Hi and welcome back to the course. In this session and the following two sessions you're going to learn about prompts and how to use them in a way that gets you the best responses. Now prompts are essentially the mechanisms by which you get back information from ChatGPT, and you'll learn throughout the course lots of tips and tricks that help you master this skill, but there are three guiding principles that if you follow them will not only make it easier for you but will also produce the best results. Now, the first principle is that you must be clear and precise with all your prompts. Remember, we've said before, ChatGPT is not a mind reader. You still have to explain exactly what you want it to do. And following on from that is priming the AI. Now, don't worry if this sounds a little bit unclear. As you'll see as we go later on in session 2, it's very clear and it's full of common sense. But priming the AI is essentially giving it clarity and focus right at the very beginning to get the relevant and accurate answers that you want. And talking about answers, one thing which you should make a habit of is not always taking the first answer. And we'll show you, and you'll learn in this course, some specific ways of drilling down to get exactly what you want out of ChatGPT. So without further ado, let's head on over to ChatGPT. So here's ChatGPT. It's very straightforward, as you can see. It's very clean, very easy to look at and understand. The box here is where you enter your request for information, very similar to Google, except the difference between ChatGPT and Google is that whilst Google gives you the answer and then forgets you ever spoke to it in the first place, ChatGPT doesn't. As the name suggests, it's a chat, it's a conversation, or sometimes called session. So each time you ask a question or put a request in this session, it remembers the question and it remembers a response, so you can get greater answers coming back from ChatGPT. These in the left-hand pane are sessions or conversations, if you like, that I've used before and which we'll be using again. So let's have a look at the difference between a good prompt, which is what goes in here, these are prompts, and a bad prompt. I've already typed this out because it's easier than me typing out very slowly and you watching me. So let's see what comes from this. So this is what I would call, and you guess yourself, this is a bad prompt. This is fairly basic. You would not hire a copywriter and say, write the opening paragraph of a sales letter for a new physiotherapist opening in Manchester. Thank you, bye-bye. But we've done it here for two reasons. One, to show you the speed of ChatGPT, even with something as simple as that, how quick the answers came back. Now, I'm not going to read through this. You can read through this in your leisure. You're probably reading through it as we're speaking now. But if you have a look at it, it's pretty basic. It's pretty generic. It's corporate type speak. It's the kind of thing you've probably seen on hundreds and hundreds of physiotherapists, chiropractors type websites, leaflets, brochures, etc. But I don't want my copy to look like that, and you don't either. We want our copy to spring out of the page to have the readers wanting to know more and actually take action. So let's see what happens when we take that rubbish prompt and turn it into a really good prompt. So once again, rather than type it all out, I've already typed it out and copied and pasted it for you. So here's what I've written. I want you to act as an experienced direct response copywriter who has been tasked to write a sales letter to promote a new physiotherapist opening in Manchester. I want you to begin by writing the opening paragraph only, otherwise we'll be here all day. The physiotherapist is targeting over 50s who are struggling with their mobility and flexibility and are feeling stiff and sore after physical activity. It is taking much longer to recover and they are now frustrated because they cannot do what they used to do. Use descriptive and emotional language to exacerbate the problem. Explain how it is affecting their quality of life and make it compelling enough to want to read more. Include a hook to keep them engaged. The paragraph must paint a vivid picture of how life is for the prospect who is experiencing the problem. A lot more detail than that. That's much, you can see straight away that's a infinitesimally better prompt than the original one. So let's see what comes back. That's a good start. Dear frustrated and sore over 50s of Manchester. That's fairly precise, isn't it, based on my targeting description I gave it. Do you find yourself waking up in the morning feeling like an old creaky door, stiff and sore even after the simplest physical activities? Are you tired of watching others effortlessly move through life while you struggle to keep up? You used to be agile and energy, but now your body seems to be betraying you at every turn. You're talking about limitations, talking about the inability to do pain with grandchildren, taking a leisurely stroll, etc. You see, it's much better. It's not the end product clearly, but it is considerably better than what we had to start with. So you can see the difference between the unstructured, basic, little information, little description type of prompt to one that actually goes into a little bit of a description and actually gives ChatGPT something to work with. And that's what it's all about. Let's take this out. Let's take this prompt out and examine it in more detail so you can understand exactly how you can create prompts like this for yourself. So if we have a look at the prompt I created that generated the superior response, we can break it down so you can understand the structure and you can begin applying it yourself to get better responses. Now the first thing I did is I've asked ChatGPT, as you can see, to act as an experienced copywriter. I've given it a role, if you like. What this does is help give or guide ChatGPT and give it a context for the conversation. Helps ChatGPT understand the whole purpose of the conversation so that the results are far more relevant. And the next step is to give it a task within that role, the role of a direct response copywriter in this case. That helps it further refine the responses that you are going to get. It helps give clarity and focus to the conversation. That's what I call the speciality. The third part, and this is the part that often can take maybe two or three prompts to get going. These are the variables. These are what drills down further by adding so many more detailed bits of information as possible so you get more precise and relevant responses. And the final part of this structure is what I call persuasive language. If you have a look, I've asked it to use descriptive and emotional language to exacerbate the problem, explain how it is affecting the quality of life, make it compelling enough to want to read more, and include a hook to keep them engaged. The paragraph which paint a vivid picture of how the life is for the prospect who's experiencing the problem. That's persuasive language, and that's the part of the copy that is obviously going to help persuade the reader to take the next step, hopefully. And you can change this. It doesn't have to be emotional, although, to be fair, in sales copy, that's probably what we all want because people buy an emotion. But you could change it. You can add some humour. You might make it more conversational, or whatever it is you want to achieve. Now, an easy way to remember that: role, speciality, variables, persuasive language is RSVP. So that's the end of this session. In the next session, you're going to be learning how to put this into action in terms of creating the base for your sessions. I'll see you next. Bye for now.